Welcome, everybody. Football Discussion Daily. My name is Joe. I'm here with the co host,
You
CGO or George. Today is the 8th of March, 2026, and we are talking about both the Milan Derby, where Milan beat Inter 1-0 to cut the gap in Serie A from 10 to 7 points. And then there's three FA Cup results today, two upsets where lower league teams beat Premier League teams. Southampton, who were in the Premier League last year, beat Fulham 1-0. Port Vale in League One beat Sunderland 1-0. And Leeds United beat Norwich City 3-0. We still have West Ham facing Brentford tomorrow in the last round of 16 for the FA Cup, and they'll have to draw for the round of 8 tomorrow. So it's exciting. Also, just calling us out as a Brentford supporter, Queen's Park Rangers lost 4-0 today to Middlesbrough. It's always a good day when both Fulham and Queen's Park Rangers lose. George, quick question. Out of the two upsets, Southampton for Fulham, Port Vale over Sunderland, which one surprised you more and why?
I think the one that surprised me more is Port Vale defeating Sunderland because Sunderland plays in the Premier League, and then we have Port Vale playing in the third tier of the English League, which is the League One. So, and they are not really performing too fantastic in the League One. So it was a game I expected Sunderland, considering the way they've played in the Premier League, the kind of football we see them play, the way they've really competed against big teams in the Premier League. So I was thinking it's a game they will be able to at least get a victory. But to my greatest surprise, Port Vale did what most football followers would not expect. So that was the biggest upset for me, if you ask me.
I agree. I mean, this Southampton team has half their team has played in the Premier League, and the talent's there. Even if they haven't been able to put it together, they were in the league two of the last 3 years. They are doing decently well in the championship. Not amazing, but decently well. Beating Fulham, who I feel like Fulham is a team. Marco Silva gets them safe, and then they check out most years. Like that's my perception of Fulham. I don't know how much the data backs that up, but Fulham is, I feel like, yeah, that's my perception of them. Port Vale, again, League One, another league below. Sunderland has, in my, for both of us, probably maybe a little bit more quality. I also think Sunderland might be a team that might be checked out right now because they feel like they're safe and the players are all, how do I say, on the beach. I felt that could be true for Sunderland as well, but we'll see the last 2 months of the season. But I think it's one of the beauties of the FA Cup. I would love to
Yes.
see Port Vale and Southampton go to a Premier League team that's not Brentford in the next round and win. It'd be awesome. I love seeing smaller clubs advance into the round of the next round. I would love to see Port Vale drawn against Southampton because it would be really cool to have a team like that in the semifinals, and just be a pretty cool thing. George, huh?
But Joe, honestly, I was also very disappointed in Fulham because I felt since Fulham were playing at home at the Craven Cottage against Southampton, I felt that to give them the cutting edge over Southampton that is playing the championship. But honestly, I was surprised they considered the goal they considered in that game, and they couldn't turn it around. And at the end of the day, they lost. But like you said, that's the beauty of the FA Cup. Upsets like this uh, we could always see upset like this happen, especially in the FA Cup. Yesterday, we
Huh?
would have seen this kind of upset in Wrexham against Chelsea. Remember when they took the lead 2-1? It was as if we're almost getting closer to having an upset yesterday. But Chelsea were able to turn things around. So that was what I expected to see from the Fulham team today. But unfortunately, they couldn't turn things around and they're out of the FA Cup. So the FA Cup draw is something that will be very interesting tomorrow. It will take place, I think, before few minutes to the kickoff of West Ham against Brentford. So I think it will be around 7:05 p.m. GMT. And then the West Ham game against Brentford will start at 7:30 p.m. GMT. So, and the way it's been structured, what it means is there's no team that is seeded. So anybody can play against each other. So what it means is that we could have any of those big teams in the Premier League playing against each other. So Joe, if I may ask you, which of these big teams would you be very much interested to see have a clash in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup? We have
Yeah.
Liverpool, we have Chelsea, we have Arsenal, we have Manchester City. Which
Yeah.
of them would you like to see them play against each other in the quarterfinals?
I mean, so I have two perspectives on this. One, George, I'm a fan and I have my own personal biases. And out of these teams, I'm kind of indifferent towards Arsenal and Man City. I kind of don't like Chelsea. Of all the big teams, I'd say I'd support Liverpool. I the most, as much as their conflicts that they don't uh, inter, uh, interfere with Brentford's interests. So I do think I would want to see Chelsea draw. From that perspective, I would want to see Chelsea draw Man City because I feel like that would be the best chance for Man City to go out. I would probably want Liverpool to draw Chelsea because I feel like that's the best chance of the three big clubs for Liverpool to go through. Um,
Oh, did you say you like to see Liverpool draw against Chelsea?
would love to see Chelsea draw against a big team because I feel like there'd be drama no matter what. Chelsea win, Chelsea loss. I feel like there'd be less drama if Chelsea were to play Port Vale or Southampton or something like that. I say that, but there's a lot of drama yesterday with Wrexham. So I feel like wherever Chelsea goes, there's going to be drama and intrigue when the Arsenal game might be a little more boring. So I'm kind of hoping Arsenal draw a mediocre team and that, that Chelsea get that drama. I'd love to see Man City Arsenal. I feel like they're gonna these two teams' fates are so intertwined. The next 2 months, they could face each other in the Champions League, and obviously they're going neck and neck in the Premier League. I'd love to see just that be decided on the field because I feel like they're the two best teams in England right now, and I'd love to see that decided. And I don't feel like that's any different than deciding it now versus a final, and it'll be great. George, what about you? What matchup would you like to see? You're a Chelsea fan, so like, what would Chelsea fan George want to see for Chelsea? And obviously, and what would football fan George? What wants one matchup you'd love to see?
No, I'm sure for every Chelsea fan, even an Arsenal fan or Liverpool fan would want Liverpool or Chelsea or any of their teams to play against the lower teams like Port Vale, like Southampton. That's what that's what they would desire. That's what they would like. But if you ask me, one big game that if it happens maybe at the end of the draw, we have a pairing of these two teams, and it's something that would be very exciting to watch. Would be if we could have Arsenal playing against Manchester City. It's going to be a cracker. I don't want to see Chelsea and Arsenal play again because they've played against each other, I think almost 4 times. They've met in the Premier League twice. They also play in the Carabao Cup twice. So I don't think it will be something that will be interesting for anybody to watch at this stage. So if it is maybe Chelsea playing against any other person outside Arsenal, then that I think a Chelsea fan would prefer that than playing Arsenal again for a fifth time at this stage. So Arsenal, Manchester City, if that happens for me, that would be a great cracker. It would be a very
Yeah.
interesting match to watch, if you ask me.
Interestingly, though, I've told you, like, I'm not sure how much Brentford are going to prioritize this tournament or Leeds because they're playing for so much. Brentford has the chance to get into Europe for the first time in their history. And I feel like, as I've said this, have the inside track at seventh. Leeds, I feel, are probably the best of the four in that relegation battle, but are in that relegation battle. West Ham, if they win tomorrow, are also in a relegation battle and might not prioritize FA Cup. George, do you feel like Brentford, Leeds, West Ham might be an easier draw for that reason? Do you agree with me?
When you say most of these teams would not want to prioritize the FA Cup, I don't want to agree because remember the winner of the FA Cup would also have the chance of playing in Europe. So I feel if they have the opportunity to go all the way to winning the competition, like we saw Crystal Palace do that last season, I'm sure most of those teams would like to do that. Crystal Palace are playing in Europe today, I think in the Conference League, because of they won the FA Cup. So I'm sure most of these teams will aspire to win the FA Cup if the opportunity comes. But we know it's not something that's going to be easy for them.
You're right.
So
You're right.
that,
And
that's
then
that's that's what I feel. So it's something they have something at stake, if you ask me.
yeah,
And
and
this is a cup competition. Anything can happen.
Leeds and Brentford have not won a trophy for a very long time, if you don't count the
Yes,
championship playoff final. West Ham obviously won Europe Conference
they
League
won
several years
the
ago.
Conference League. I
So
think three years or 4 years ago.
people always ask me like, well, before Tottenham won Europa last year, like, would you rather have Leicester City's, basically 2014 to 2024? Or would you rather have Tottenham's, where you're really good but you haven't won anything, or Leicester's, where you win a league, you win an FA Cup, and then you don't win anything else? And um, Leicester has a great 10-year run and did things. I would love to see, not that any of these teams will hit those quite heights, but sometimes it's better to win a trophy, even if it costs you maybe a league position or two. I feel like it is. You're right. It's a poor mentality to think we can't prioritize the FA Cup.
Because Joe, you ask yourself, what fans remember their team for is the trophies you've won. If you like, play so beautiful, play so well with that trophy, nobody will reckon with you. We remember when Tottenham were doing very well under Pochettino. One of the gray areas people have always pointed out is the fact that they played so well, but they never won a trophy. And
Never,
that was not something good for the CV of Pochettino. Pochettino hasn't won much trophies when it comes to coaching. His teams play so well, but winning trophy is what people remember you for. People remember Jose Mourinho today because of the trophies he has won with teams. Same thing applies to Pep Guardiola. So if your team is playing well and you're not winning trophies, nobody remembers you for that. That is the way it
yeah.
works.
All right, George. Our next set it before I want to talk about the Milan Derby. This was won by Milan, who beat Inter 1-0, and they cut the league. I think it's 7 points with 8 or 9 or 10 games to go before Inter is still in the lead. Do you feel like there's any chance this becomes a title race? I do not. But do you feel like that this is any chance this comes to a title race?
Well, the issue is that when you look at the past 3 years, AC Milan have always had an edge over Inter Milan. Even though Inter Milan has been winning trophies, but most times AC Milan they are always a very big challenge for Inter Milan to surmount.
Except in the Champions League, but yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Because the last time Inter Milan defeated AC Milan in any of the derby, I think that was 2023. So that was the last time. So it's about more than 3 years ago. That was when Inter Milan even got a victory against AC Milan. AC Milan always have a better of Inter Milan, so I wasn't surprised. But the issue is that I don't think AC Milan can win that title. I still believe Inter Milan will still go all the way. One of the challenge AC Milan has most times is they drop points a lot. You see them; they have a lot of draws. They've played so many draws this season compared to Inter Milan. So and most times winning, when you win your game, you always have the advantage than when you play draw. Even though AC Milan has less defeats, if I'm not wrong here, but because Inter Milan has always gotten 3 points most times, they are ahead of them. So for me, I see that still I still believe that will likely continue. I still believe AC Milan will still drop points more than Inter Milan, and
We
based
see
on
that
that, Inter
and
Milan will have the edge.
we see that same dynamic a bit with Man City and Arsenal over the years, where City loses more but they draw less than Arsenal, and Arsenal draw more but lose less, and over the end of the day, City win more, and it ends up winning the title for them. Another interesting factor, George, is that neither of these teams in the Champions League. I feel like the Champions League will throw a wrench in the English Premier League race, with Man City and Arsenal having to navigate, Real Madrid and all these other teams. And in Italy, there's less variance without an extra factor involved. and that will also lead. It's also a much bigger lead than Italy than it is, and the lead in England. So smaller than Germany though. Uh, George, let me just close out with our standard question to our listeners. Number one, which Premier League upset surprised you the most? Was it Port Vale over Sunderland, or was it Southampton over Fulham? Number two, which matchup would you love to see in the FA Cup? I think George. Well, I would love to see Chelsea Man City. Um, George said he would love to see Chelsea play against a lesser team, and he'd love to see Arsenal Man City. I'd also love Arsenal Man City. That'd be awesome. I think we're going to see that anyway because they're the best two teams in England. But number three is the title race in Italy over. And yeah, let us know your thoughts. Thank you for your listening.